Hello and welcome to a rather damp early spring day here in Nova Scotia, and welcome to my channel, The Optimistic Gardener. My name is Steve Farley. Today I'm going to show you how mulching your veg and flower beds will save you money, save you work and help you grow fantastic healthy plants. So join me in today's video with the rather sexy title of how mulching helps you and your plants. Oh, and cuts down on weeding. So I've just put a layer of seaweed down across this garden bed to act as a mulch. For those of you guys who don't know what mulching is, basically it's the process of putting down a layer of material across your garden veg bed or flower bed, a bit like a blanket, to protect it. That mulch is normally made up of some sort of organic material, whether it be bark chips, compost, leaf mould, even cardboard, and in this case I'm using seaweed. Now, putting down that mulch will help your garden in a variety of different ways. Firstly, it will prevent a lot of sunlight hitting the actual ground, the soil itself, which will therefore stop a lot of weeds germinating, and that will really cut down on your weeding. It's not going to get rid of all the weeds, but like I said, it's going to cut down dramatically on the amount of weeding you've got to do. Secondly, it will conserve water. Again, because the sunlight's not hitting the soil itself, the water's not evaporating, so you're going to conserve a lot of water, and it's going to cut down on the watering that you have to do throughout the year. And that's, you know, going to save you money for you guys out there nowadays that are on water meters. It's going to save effort for you guys that are on hose pipe bans throughout the year. So there's two good things there. And thirdly, as the actual mulch rots down throughout the season, all those nutrients that are still locked inside will be released into the soil to help feed your plants. So I've explained what a mulch is and the reasons why, the really important reasons why I feel that you should be putting down a mulch. So how do you actually do it? First thing is, don't be shy. A good 2 or 3 inches of whatever the material it is that you're using right the way across the bed is what you need. Really want to cut down on the light, the sunlight getting down onto the earth. We really want to protect it. Make sure you leave it, if you've got any plants there at all, make sure you leave a gap around the plant, around the stalk of the plant, so that there's no chance of it causing any rotting. We don't want the mulch to cause the plant to rot, because then we're defeating the object of the whole process. And if you're going to put seeds down, obviously little gap around where you're putting the seed, let the light in and the seed will come up, and then your mulch is still working, and the same as you go along. So I feel that mulching is one of the most important jobs that we end up not doing half the time on a seasonal basis, whether it be early spring now, getting yourself prepared, or in the autumn if you want to put the mulch down then, so that it rots down a little bit. I was in the Navy, the Royal Navy, for 25 years, and we had a saying, 5 Ps. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. And I think it's really that important. You want to give your plant, we spend a lot of money on our plants and a lot of effort as well. So you want to give them every chance they can to grow. And if you do that, they will pay you back in spades. Whether it be a beautiful flower or some big fat juicy fruit and veg. A good mulch is going to help you get there. So there's the again what a mulch is, the reasons why we want to put it down, and my little impassioned plea of the importance of mulching. So now let's have a look at the different areas around the garden where we can actually put the mulch down. So the sun's out, hat's definitely on, the merest whisper of sunshine at this time of year, and this English head will be extremely red before you know it. So I've spoken about how we want to put nice thick layers of mulch, 2 or 3 inches across your veg and flower beds to help them against weeds and conserve water. Here you can see I've layered a nice thick layer of mulch around this apple tree after I planted it. You want to give your fruit trees the best conditions they can to get going. They don't want to be competing with the weeds and grass for food and water as they're trying to establish before they get their roots settled in nicely and really doing the work. So a nice thick layer of mulch, 2 foot all the way around, will do the job nicely. So I planted a privet hedgerow here last year to separate these two different areas that I'm creating. Behind me doesn't look much at the moment, but it's going to be my major project of the year, grandly titled The Orchard. But back to the case in point. So I'm growing this privet hedge, and first of all, obviously, I've laid a nice thick layer again of mulch all the way down the actual hedgerow. First of all, there's that initial helping the plants to not have to fight against weeds, and so they can get all the water and the food that they need. But you know what it's like when your hedge gets big and it starts to get out. It's an absolute nightmare trying to get all the weeds and all that couch grass that manages to get itself out. It starts to look really scruffy. So a nice, again, keeping up that mulch all the way along the hedgerow, as wide as the hedge itself, will cut down on the weeds and do the job nicely. So here's another good use of mulch in the garden. Again, I'm planting a hedgerow along this area here, but it was actually infested with weeds all the way down, and I don't want to have to dig it all up and go through the whole process, because this is like rock city all the way down here. So what I've done is I've first put down a layer of cardboard all the way down along the line there. So that's going to act as that first mulch, and that's going to block out all the light to the weeds, and they're going to die, then they're going to rot down, and then the cardboard will rot down over time. But I've also put a layer of seaweed across there, because it's slightly more aesthetically pleasing than cardboard. It could easily have been bark chips or compost as that layer, and that gives that extra layer of goodness when you go to plant the hedgerow all the way down there. And I could easily plant the hedgerow now. Actually, all I've got to do is make slits along the way where I want to plant the hedges, and just dig out around that particular bit. And that's the old no dig sort of philosophy way of doing your gardening. You're basically, all you're doing is you're killing off all the weeds, putting a nice mulch down, and that should prevent any weeds coming up, so you don't have to do that digging all the way down. So there's another good use of mulch in the garden. So there you go. Mulching may not be one of the sexiest jobs in the gardener's calendar, but it's certainly one of the most important. A good layer of mulch across your bed, around your trees or your shrubs or your hedgerows will protect the soil, conserve water, feed your plants as it breaks down, and one of the big bonuses, cut down on weeding. If you like this video, please click the like button below, and if you've got any comments or questions, don't hesitate to put them down in the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer them. I'll be uploading videos now, hopefully on a weekly basis throughout the growing season, so click the subscribe button for regular updates, and check out my channel page for more handy tips and ideas to hopefully inspire you to make your garden the garden you really want it to be. And without further ado, I'm the Optimistic Gardener. Good night.